doing great out there. And today, April the 18th, the day right after the Ben Askren and Jake Paul event, I bring you guys my thoughts and predictions as to what in the world happened last night in the first round when Ben Askren got knocked out. So, um, am I surprised? Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I was honestly hoping for more of a, boxing match than, Ben Askren just being knocked out and, not being allowed to really continue. I feel like he could have, gone longer, of course, but I feel like the ref stopped it, whenever he was able to. I feel like there was a bit of, how can I say this? I feel like there was a bit of, um, I feel like there was a bit of rigging. I feel like the ref was told that, hey, if you get a chance to let Ben Askren not continue, do it, because I feel like Ben Askren could have obviously continued, and I feel like simply being knocked out in the first round is not a situation where the guy wouldn't be able to fight. So the fact that Ben Askren was able to get up and and the fact that he wanted to continue, was already, a big issue where a lot of people were disappointed, saying that he could have gone a little bit longer, even though nobody was expecting him to go to the mat like that in the first round. And obviously, it happened and the ref didn't let him continue. So, a lot of people were saying, the ref had some money up, there was some rigging that was involved. So, all in all, you don't really know if, what, the favors were from either sides. But obviously, if there was to be an idea that could be considered, where, Ben Askren was, put there to lose the fight, then, that can kind of be argued, but it's a fact that he was knocked down to the ground in the first round, right? So, I like I said, in my previous video, I thought Ben Askren, didn't really have a chin, especially the way he got knocked out in the Jorge Masvidal fight, and it was definitely one of my main concerns. But obviously, it looked like my concern was absolutely true, because the guy got knocked out, and I feel like when Ben Askren actually hit the floor mat, I feel like uh I feel like he actually turned off for like a full second when he was on the ground, and then he got up. So he went down, he stayed down for a second, and then he got up. So did he get hit in the button where his mind turned off and he went unconscious? I think so. Should he have been allowed to continue, because of such a big build up for this boxing event, and the fact that it was in the first round? I think so. I think he should have been allowed to continue. But obviously, anytime there's boxing events, I'm always very, very cautious, especially if you're putting money on the line, because these events, especially in the sport of boxing, is very, very rigged. That's just my opinion, and that's actually one of the main reasons why I stick to focusing on the world of MMA, because boxing can be rigged a lot of the times. And I feel like Ben Askren could have continued a little bit longer, but I actually don't think it would have changed the results, because for him to go down like that in the first round, man, everybody was hoping for a little bit more, man. Like me, Daniel Cormier, a lot of other fighters were truly hoping for more. Were hoping a little bit more from Ben Askren, but I thought he got off to a pretty good start. I mean, I don't think he was doing too bad, even though he really didn't connect onto Jake Paul. But I feel like, I felt like Ben Askren's motion was pretty good whenever he was moving around, even though he was, getting tagged a couple times by Jake Paul before he got, the big punch thrown at him that got him to the that got him to the floor. But I don't think it would have changed the result, especially him being knocked out like that, going to the mat. So should he have been continued to go on for a little bit longer? I think so. Would it have changed the result? I don't think so. So I mean, hey, I thought Ben Askren would bring it on, because the guy's been an athlete and a competitor all his life. But the fact that he, whenever he went down and he stood down for that full second, I was like, whoa, you know this guy actually, shut off for like a full second, and then he didn't get up all too quickly. I felt like he could have continued going, but again, I don't think it would have changed the result. So, again, I mentioned prior to the boxing event, I said that this guy's chin is really my main concern, because if he can take a punch, I feel like Jake Paul would have broken down in the other rounds. But considering the way he went down like that, yeah, not a lot of people were very happy with Ben Askren. Shout out to Tyron Woodley, for having his back all the way, throughout the entire event, because Tyron Woodley got a lot of heat for his whole rapping career and all that other stuff. But it was nice to see him stay by Ben Askren's side. And yeah, Jake did definitely hit a lot harder, and yeah, it was the chin of Ben Askren I was really concerned about, because man, even in the Jorge Masvidal fight, the way he just got knocked out from the knee, the guy just shut off. So it was pretty much the same thing that happened in this boxing event, because I felt like whenever Ben Askren went to the mat, whenever Jake touched him and he went to the mat, I feel like he actually shut off for like a full second, because he didn't get back up very quickly. And I feel like Ben Askren was actually very surprised when he got by Jake Paul. So I mean, again, could he have gone on a little bit longer? I think so, but I feel like boxing is very rigged. That's why I'm always very cautious, to place bets. And obviously, the ref, I feel like, could have allowed it to continue more, but the fact that he didn't, kind of speaks for itself. I mean, it was the first round too, so. Um, it is what it is at the end of the day. But uh, and yeah, exactly. I mean, Ben Askren, hadn't really been, in a real fight in a long time. So yeah, I was thinking too that Ben Askren would be fresh. He hadn't taken a lot of punishment in a long time. So, and considering the fact that he'd been an athlete and a competitor all his life, again, I thought that he'd be able to bring it on and get Jake Paul to be discouraged in the other rounds, and score more of the rounds for himself and get the victory that way. But oh man, being knocked out in the first round was definitely not what I was expecting. But it happened, so it's part of the sport, I guess. I mean, I guess Jake Paul does have power, because the way he went down like that, I mean, that wasn't fake. That was absolutely real. So. And Ben Askren was being tagged prior to being knocked out like that, throughout that first round. So I was seeing Jake Paul tag him with some left jabs, and then he connected with the big shot, and Ben Askren went down. So I was hoping to watch that event, and not watch the Robert Whitaker and Kelvin Gastelum event. But obviously that ended really quickly, so I was able to tune back and watch the Robert Whitaker and Kelvin Gastelum fight. And speaking of those two, I just want to say Robert Whitaker is an absolute beast, and this guy is a very, very skilled fighter. I thought the Kelvin Gastelum and Robert Whitaker fight would be closer than the Kelvin Gastelum and Israel Adesanya fight that they had. But man, Robert Whitaker has truly improved, throughout his fights. And the guy is just really good at tagging you in the exchange, and avoid being hit. So good for Robert Whitaker on that end to get the victory. And I'll probably do a separate video talking about that more in depth. But again, this Ben Askren Jake Paul boxing event was hyped for a long time. So the fact that we got to see, it end so quickly was obviously a little bit surprising. But at the same time, I wasn't really surprised, because I kind of suspected that Ben Askren kind of had a chin problem, but I didn't expect it to end that quickly. I mean, not even second round. I mean, third round, fourth round. I could have seen it happen, but I mean that early, I wasn't really expecting that. And the fact that it happened that way is truly surprising. And even many of the viewers weren't expecting Ben Askren to be knocked out like that in the first round. So the fact that it happened that way is truly astonishing. So um yeah, I mean, Definitely not what I was expecting. I was expecting, for the bout to go on for a little bit longer, but the fact that it didn't, you know, it is what it is, right? So I feel like again the ref could have allowed it to go on a little bit longer too, but uh, yeah, and yeah, I mean, I personally, the thing is, I don't think Ben Askren was the type of guy to, agree to a fixed event where he would allow, himself to, lose and just be paid. I mean, I really don't think, Ben Askren is that type of person, but anything can happen. I've seen that rhetoric where they said that Ben Askren lost on purpose, and yeah, exactly. It doesn't seem like that type of guy. And I've heard this from others too, that they said that Ben Askren threw the fight on purpose, but I don't think so, because if you I mean that first round when he got knocked out, he stayed down for like a full second, and then he got up slowly. So I mean, to me it looked like his brain actually shut off. And yeah, it looks like Jake Paul is able to keep his name and get another bout going. And I feel like for Jake Paul, if he's smart, he'll continue to call out MMA fighters, because you know he doesn't need Jake Paul doesn't really need to be fighting real boxers. I mean, Jake Paul can just continue to make money fighting nobodies and use his own name to prop up the events, and make money that way. And look how many viewers. I mean, I don't really know how many viewers tuned in yesterday to watch that event, but obviously it was a pretty hyped event, and there was a lot of people that were keeping up with it. Even the entirety of the MMA world was keeping up with it. So you know, yeah, I mean, for those that created that event, I think it was a very successful night for them. So, good for them. But I mean, again, I feel like it was rigged in terms of the ref not allowing Ben Askren to continue a little bit more, even though I don't think it would have changed the result. Especially for Ben to go down like that. I mean, I thought he would have had some chin, but I mean, to be knocked out like that, it's seemingly like he had no chin whatsoever. So, and if it land, like I said, prior to the boxing event, if that was gonna be the case, then yeah, he wasn't gonna last long. And yeah, exactly. Everybody was talking about the boxing event, and that's exactly what I'm saying. So Jake Paul doesn't even have to be fighting, real boxers. He just has to really, you know, box anybody that has a bit of a name like Ben Askren did, and you know, he'll be making good money, and I'm sure that's very scary to the UFC as well, because I'm sure the UFC is pretty angry about that, because between the Jake Paul and Ben Askren event starting, and the Robert Whitaker and Kelvin Gastelum event starting, I can say with absolute certainty that a lot of people were actually more interested in seeing how the Jake Paul and Ben Askren bout was gonna go down in comparison to the Robert Whitaker and Kelvin Gastelum fight. And that personally, I mean, I was watching the Ben Askren and Jake Paul event until it ended so quickly, right? So uh, surprised, and yet still not surprised. But yeah, I mean, good for Jake Paul. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if Jake Paul would have won, but I just wasn't thinking it would have been that early on. And yeah, Dana does need to pay his fighters a bit more, because UFC is making a lot of money, and they're not even paying their fighters 80 grand a year. And these fighters have to pay their coaches, they got to pay for all sorts of costs. So when you realistically if you realistically actually look at how much these UFC fighters are making, they're probably making 40 to 50 grand at best, and these are the average UFC fighters, and they're the ones that are on a good track and winning. So yeah, UFC fighters aren't really making too much money, and it looks like uh, most of the money is like in the top three or top four, and that's really hard to get to. So yeah, I mean, the UFC kind of needs to um, be a little bit more organized in terms of the fighters that they have on their roster, so that at least many are satisfied. But again, that's up to the UFC and whatnot. So, and it's up to the fighters too, because look, nobody was paying Connor $100 million to show up. to a boxing event, and that was Connor that set that up for himself whenever he had his boxing match with Floyd. But um, some people are smart and some people aren't, so it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I was very surprised for it to have gone down like that. But let's see who Jake Paul is gonna, box next. And I can say one thing: if Jake Paul is having another boxing event and there's another UFC event on the same night, I again believe that many people will be more interested in watching the Jake Paul event than a UFC fight. Just because of the hype that's usually built around behind it. So. And yeah, I mean, UFC fighters have a lot of costs, and those coaches charge a lot of money. So yeah, and yeah, the UFC I think has a lot of space to grow. I mean, Ari Emanuel just bought the company a couple months ago, or like it's almost been a little over a year actually. What am I saying? A couple months ago, but yeah, the UFC has been improving a lot as a company. So we'll see what happens. And I know there's a lot of people that are trying to take away from their viewership. Like the boxing event that was scheduled last night. At the same time, during the Robert Whitaker and Kelvin Gastelum fight going on. So, that says it for itself that, the UFC is going to be having a lot of competition coming its way. And yeah, yeah, I don't really know how long it's been since Ari Emanuel bought the company, but either or, the UFC has a lot of room to grow. I think they've been doing pretty good, but their recent how can I say this? Their recent actions of letting some fighters go is actually a good thing because there's a good amount of people that have just been there just to be fighting for just showing up. So, and who was Bobby? I can't recall who Bobby is. Bobby, was that one of the boxers? Because I only saw the main event. Um, I'm not really sure who Bobby is. If you want to clarify. Oh, Robbie, yeah, Robert. Oh my God, Robert Whitaker put on a phenomenal. He put on a phenomenal performance against Kelvin Gastelum. Yeah, 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 yeah. Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, no, Robert Whitaker, is a very, very good fighter. He is very tactical. He is very skillful. He was catching Kelvin Gastelum, in the clinch, and avoiding being hit. And I said in my prediction that Kelvin Gastelum takes a lot of damage in his fights, and Robert Whitaker, on the contrary, tries to dodge them, and that's exactly what happened in yesterday's fight. I mean, it was just a clinical performance by Robert Whitaker, just being better in every aspect of that fight throughout, the 5 rounds. And yeah, I mean, I saw that one coming too. So uh, yeah, Robert Whitaker is really, really good, and I'm very interested in seeing how his rematch against Israel Adesanya is going to play out. Because I feel like Robert Whitaker is much better right now than he was when he fought Israel Adesanya the first time. So, those are two really good, great, interesting, and fun fighters, and I feel like it's gonna be a very fun event the second time around that they will fight. So, and I feel like that is the fight to make right now, actually. So, it's just a matter of knowing the date and waiting for it. So, yeah. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he beats Izzy because Izzy is really good, but we'll see if he learned anything from fighting Jan Blako. What was it, John Blakovic, the Polish guy? I don't really know how to pronounce his name, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun one the second time around. Just like the Dustin and Connor fight was pretty fun the second time around. I mean, that was a good fight actually. So. Can't wait for these rematches to take place. Connor Dustin 3, Izzy and Whitaker 2. So I mean, yeah, these are all exciting fights. That a lot of people, including myself, are looking forward to watching. So, yeah, I mean, but again, yesterday I feel like that ref could have allowed it to continue a little bit more, but I feel like he wanted to. But then I feel like something hit his mind, and he was like, you know what, I should just stop this right now because I feel like you know, I feel like boxing is a little bit rigged just because of the people that organize the event. I mean, that's just my take on it. I've always been, very sketchy with, the sport of boxing, but I feel like he could have gone on a little bit longer, but I don't think it would have changed the result. So, and maybe, and yeah, maybe he did see something where he was like, he shouldn't continue, because I felt like when Ben Askren hit the ground, and yeah, I thought he shut down. I thought he actually shut off for a full second, because he didn't really just get back up like that. So I thought, I felt like Ben Askren went unconscious for a full second when he hit the thing mad in the ring. So we don't really know. But yeah. And yeah, there's that too. See, I feel like boxing has a lot of that, where certain people that are involved are told to do certain things in certain circumstances, and I feel like yes, he was told that if you get an opportunity to stop the match in favor of Jake Paul, do it, and I feel like that's exactly what happened. But I don't think it would have changed the result should they have continued to box it out, because I do also feel like Ben Askren got his mind turned off when he hit the floor. So um, man, the guy has no chin. What can I say? But he's a very smart guy. I'm sure he's very successful. Outside the sport of MMA and boxing. So I mean, Ben Askren's a smart guy. So he'll find his way to success either way, and he already has. I mean, the guy's been a wrestler, and an athlete all his life. So yeah, and yeah, boxing is dirty. Exactly, boxing is dirty. So. That's all I got for now. I'm gonna probably do another video talking about the cryptocurrency situation, because Bitcoin is tanking. Dogecoin is holding its price, and I think it's going up right now actually, as I'm speaking, because it hit 34 cents a little earlier. No, it's back down to 31, 32 right now, but it hit 34 cents while everything was tanking. So yeah, Dogecoin is on a tear lately, so that's really good. And yeah, I mean, Ben Askren still got paid, so um, it was an interesting event, So we'll see the next time whenever Jake Paul, gets in the ring, and up until then, I'll do another video for Jake Paul. But we got some UFC fights coming out, so yep. And yeah, Dogecoin I think is gonna keep its price high. So I wouldn't be too nervous about Doge. I wouldn't even be surprised if it goes up to $1, in the next couple days. And I feel like Bitcoin hitting 56,000. What is that? 56 right now. It was at 55 a little bit earlier. So it's already climbing back up slowly, and showing resistance at around the 55,000. It's at 56 and a half right now. So um I'll probably do another video in a couple hours. But up until then, drop those comments, guys. Like the video, subscribe, and be good out there, guys. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.